Hello and welcome to the Pink Grape. My name is Anthony Metzger. I'm a winemaker and certified sommelier. Here at the Pink Grape, I interview winemakers from all over the planet. I conduct my interviews via Skype and record them live to bring you face-to-face with winemakers from all over the world. So without further ado, please enjoy the show and be sure to subscribe. Well, Balazs, welcome to the show, Wines of the World. Thanks for being on today. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And so you're a winemaker from Hungary, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And how did you become a winemaker?
Well, it's a very long story. Firstly, I grown up actually, and I born and raised in the middle of a Hungarian wine region, but I've had no connection with wine for the beginnings at all. But I became well, my first memorable experience was around my 20s. So in my 20s, when I came across with such a great wine, and so I started to dig into the winemaking. And afterwards, I just went to the college, to a horticultural college.
Sure.
And that's all started suddenly, you know.
Yeah, very nice. I read a thing by Robert Parker who said that there was a wine that was, I think it was the Tokai Essentia, and he said it can age for 1,000 years. What's your take on that?
Well, I haven't tried it after that long, but the thing is, it's a really pure, natural, and very, very concentrated wine. So actually, takes to the really professional level to ferment it, because it's honestly bubble by bubble, because you have to be very patient, and it's very unique and special.
Yeah,
it's very.
And what's the story of Bull's Blood, the wine Bull's Blood in Hungary? You've heard of this one. What's the story? What's the legend behind Bull's Blood wine?
In the Ottoman times, so when technically the Ottoman Empire started to tackle the countries in from the south, so in Eger, where this wine usually come from, but also from Sexard. So there was a big fight between, in the locals and the emperors.
Yeah.
And because the Ottomans, they not very often drink wine, so and Hungarians do a lot, so they had a bit tint around the mouth.
Oh, sure.
And they thought we are drinking technically blood, and particularly Bull's blood, because the locals were so strong, and the resistance was so strong. So that's how.
So they would drink the wine, it would be on their beards and spill on their clothes, and then the opposition thought it was bull's blood. Yeah. They were drinking it to be fearless and as strong as a bull.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
You know legends.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, right. Very cool. And so where have you traveled and made wine? You've traveled outside of the country and worked as a winemaker. Where have you made wine?
I made wine mostly in Hungary, but I've been traveling to France, to Bordeaux especially, which is have a special place in my heart, and in the southern hemisphere as well, so New Zealand and Australia. And
you said that France has a special place in your heart as far as winemaking goes. Why do you say that?
Look, Saint-Emilion is my second love. A second, because I'm married, but but the thing is, I really love the wines.
Yeah, and so what about New Zealand and Australia? What was it that you liked or loved about working in New Zealand? What is it that stood out to you most?
It's so much different from Europe. So
sure.
you know, different thoughts, different views, different goals, different people. Really laid back country, I must say.
Yeah.
So really easygoing, and you know, just a whole lot of opportunity to play around with wines and wine growing and such things like this. So I think that's one of the best place probably on the globe to experience entirely cutting edge things in winemaking.
Yeah,
I think.
Nice. Yeah, because in like the southern hemisphere over there in Australia and New Zealand, they can try new things and different things compared to like France, like Saint-Emilion. They figured it out. I mean, they figured out how to make the best wine they can. But in New Zealand and Australia and, you know, the New World, they're still discovering what they can and cannot do. So that's kind of exciting as well.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah, very good. So what is it that, you know, you're willing to go travel around the world and make wine? What do you love about wine most?
Diversity.
Sure.
Diversity. So wherever I go, no matter you know how many people you met, you always learn something. I always been convinced from wine people to learn and experience as much as I can, and just simply never stop exploring.
Yeah.
You know, and wine it's have some magic. You know, brings people together.
Sure. Yeah.
And opens your mouth up a bit.
So, right. Yeah.
And really, most people like to drink wine in the same time when they're having fun or they are partying. So also a really good point.
Sure.
Winemaking. So winemaking is such a natural thing. There's always changing. You know, you every day learn something. Challenged by the nature, challenged by weather, challenged by your colleagues.
Yes.
Even your customers. So,
right.
So it's a really wine is a really living product, I think.
Yep.
And it's ever changing.
Yep.
So that's why I found it really fascinating and interesting.
Very nice. Okay, so another thing I do here on the show is I'll ask scenario questions and just see what kind of wine you would drink in certain scenarios. Say you're hanging from like a cliff and you're looking down for like a kilometer, a really long James Bond movie style cliff. And at the bottom is just the ocean and you see a bunch of great white sharks swimming in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
The odds of surviving are not looking good. What kind of wine would you drink in your last couple minutes hanging on a cliff?
So the drop is very short. So it's 1K, it must be quick.
Yeah.
Right. So small bottle, okay?
Yeah.
So half bottle.
Yeah.
All right. One hand, screw top, maybe.
Yeah, like good thinking there.
Okay. So because you know the sharks, so I must say, let's drink something white.
Yeah. Goes good with the great white sharks, yeah.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. And then another question I asked too is if you could drink a bottle of any wine in the world and you could drink it with any person in the world or anybody from history, who would you drink a bottle of wine with?
Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison?
Yes. Okay. So I love rock and roll and music. So by the way,
yeah.
But so that would be my pick.
All right, Blas. Okay. Thank you for your time, and we'll keep in touch.
Okay. Thank you very much, mate, and thanks for the opportunity too.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yep. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, and you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of The Pink Grape. Make sure you check in next week as I'll be releasing a new interview with a winemaker. If you have any questions that you would like me to ask a winemaker during any of my interviews, just reach out to me through my social media accounts, which you can find on my website, thepinkgrape.com. Make sure you check out my website this week, as I'll be releasing some really fun, interesting wine stories. Thank you, and please be sure to subscribe.